All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite TV shows. This was all about the Married at First Sight season reunion special, part 1.
Part 1. Take.
Yep, we got it. So this content that you enjoy, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications.
And share.
And we'll see you next time in the comments. All right. So Kickoff, we got all the couples there, all 5, well, 4.5 couples.
You say 4 couples and then a recap.
4 couples and then Basic Girl and Chris. First pointing out, Mark lost some weight.
Yeah. Awesome. Good job, Mark.
Probably all that stress. And then Lindsay, of course, starts early with her digs about life-changing decisions and what have you. So she starts off being Lindsay from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we jump into a portion of Alyssa and Chris, not the full thing. But Alyssa, who is such a good person, basically says that it was false that she wanted to be in the apartment to hang with the other ladies. You buying it?
No, because there's too many receipts out there.
Yeah. So, and then Steve acknowledged, he's like, look, I knew I wasn't going to get along with Lindsay from day one. We was on that airplane and she was going off on Elijah and crying her tears. I knew I wouldn't get along with her. And he's like, I told Noy, don't say nothing about what's going on with us to her. And production came and told them, don't y'all say nothing to Lindsay because she will spill your stuff, because she had already told production about some things.
Well, her account is that production overheard them while they were on the bus. So Noe was sharing with Lindsay that her and Steve had sex. Mm-hmm. And the production overheard this information. But how it got translated, supposedly, is that production told Noe and Steve, yeah, Lindsay told us.
So I believe that both of those things can be true. I think they may just be different things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is possible, yes, that they forgot that they were mic'd up and production picked up things because that's what production does, mm-hmm. right? But it's not a stretch for me to believe that Lindsay goes around telling their business and anybody else's business. It's not a stretch to me. I think that's very possible. Very much within her character, very much within her wheelhouse to do.
But we got to put both sides out there.
We do.
And that's what was said.
But we make our opinion because we're watching it as fans.
We're watching it as fans. That's why I'm giving both sides.
Right. But I'm just saying, I believe Steve. Steve got credibility.
I'm just saying, Steve says, you know what? I'm not going to be bothered. You know, I know her MO. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Right. I don't blame him.
Not at all.
So I get it that you don't want to be a part of that, so you stay away. Now, what happened between who told who, it got out, right. Period.
So then they start to break off the couples so that, what's his name, Kevin, mm-hmm. can kind of interview and talk through. So the first thing they talk about with Katina and Elijah, because they're the first couple, was the dance moves from the wedding. And Elijah did say that he kind of forewarned Katina that he was about to do it.
He asked her if it's okay.
Right.
So I feel like that's appropriate. You know, he's like, is it okay if I dance for you? Right. You know, so, I mean, she enjoyed it. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
She just said, I just wanted my mom out of the way. I didn't want her to have an early heart attack.
Right. And so, in my opinion, this Elijah one is at least more conciliatory, more apologetic, more toned down than what we had seen through the season. Because he recognized that his tone probably should have been better as far as like the cooking issue. And
yeah, I mean, he's been saying that after he's been corrected.
Right.
Now, I believe possibly because what's on Twitter and stuff, he does a lot of self-evaluating. Mm-hmm. He already indicated at the very beginning he has ADHD. Mm-hmm. And that's just more than just attention. It's more than just attention deficit.
Right.
Right? Sometimes you can be very
rigid,
mm-hmm. Right, and be so solid in your own view that you don't see other people's view.
Right.
So I was keeping that in the back of my head when those things were happening.
Yeah.
I felt like if it was brought to his attention and really talked through, and then he had time to reflect on it, to understand it, yeah, there was an opportunity for him to do better.
Right.
And then how he just thinks and reacts. And when he felt like it was his dad saying like he had the green light to be with Katina, I think it just helped him overall.
Yeah.
You just got to be the right person. You know, there's always somebody for somebody, as they say.
Right.
And I just think Katina has the patience, you know, to be able to handle what he's putting out.
Yeah, I agree. Now they did talk about the statement that he made from the decision day about her making inedible food. And the way he kind of positioned it was like, she just cannot cook. It's inedible. What the background story was that they had made chicken in the air fryer, and evidently they didn't cook it long enough.
Right.
So therefore it's kind of raw.
Right. I mean, that happens.
It happens.
That happens to everybody when it's undercooked.
Right.
And you just got to put it back in.
Put it back in and let it go.
And let it go. But that's happened to me. It happened to everyone.
Right.
Doesn't make you, again, not a cooker.
Right.
It's just sometimes you don't time things correctly.
Right.
So I think for him, like, you know, he made a statement like, well, people were telling her to run. You were one of those people.
I was
telling her to run. And, you know, people should give people a chance. I hear what he's saying, but if you're looking from the outside and this is what you're seeing,
right,
I can see why people would say run. But each situation is different.
Right.
And I think it's still up to that person, right, to evaluate, assess, and make a decision.
Because we all know what our deal breakers are for ourselves.
Correct.
And so in part of watching this is, yes, you are putting your deal breakers, your opinions, your thoughts, what you can and cannot deal with.
Correct.
We're putting that on them, right?
Correct.
So if Katina's good with it, Elijah wants good with it.
Correct.
I ain't in it, right?
You ain't in it, right?
So he does recognize. So he's like, there's not right now a major issue on cooking for him. He recognized that he may have been a little too much with that.
And they compromise.
Right.
The point is, do you eat?
Right.
And if you have enough money where you don't feel like there's a strain on you going out to eat, you ate.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Right.
Not how it was done. It was done.
You had food.
It was accomplished.
He also admits that he overreacted on the app thing. So
yeah.
Lot of reflection, backtrack. Yeah, not backtracking but he is.
No, I say reflection.
Yeah, that's a good word. We'll leave it at that. And then he does. They talk about how he sold his house.
Yeah.
So he could buy the ring. I don't know if he did.
No, he didn't do that.
But he bought a ring.
So hold on. Let's separate the two.
Separate.
I think that's a good idea because he said all his old memory and his old lifestyle was in that house.
Right.
So it seems like they currently move into an apartment so they can find something
that fits both of them. Wise.
Kudos to him. Instead of, Mark, who wants to go ahead and just go in the house.
Move into his grandma's house.
Right. And change and just make some updates.
Right.
Now, neither one is wrong, right?
Right.
But because Elijah was reflecting on all the bad things that he felt was bad or not productive for him, he decided to sell his own. Yeah. So he probably got a nice.
Now, one thing, and it was like, okay, they hinted around. And so everybody's kind of left to draw their own conclusions. There was something where he said that Katina didn't keep her word. There was like a never before seen segment. Yeah. And come to find out, it was basically him coming out the shower, her helping him to relax for the evening. So you take that how you want to take it. But the thing that I got from that was they had this thing where they were not going to have sex, but they still had sexual interactions.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day,
right.
If she kept it or not, I don't know. But I get it. They're sexual beings.
Right.
And he had to go 8 weeks somehow.
Somehow, some way.
How that happened, that's none of my business.
So, yeah. All right. But he did get on his knee and give a ring to Katina.
Yes. And I love Katina being Katina. She's like, that's a big rock. And she kind of cried a little bit. But again, what a great opportunity just to share how much you love each other and make that thing work.
Yep. And then Chris and Alyssa.
Yes.
Once again, she starts off, she came in with pure intentions.
And she had a letter that had to be read off. So she wanted to make sure her pageant answers were as very crystal clear as possible.
She had her attorney write it up.
I like what Chris said. If I had seen half of the stuff she said about me and how rude she was, I would have ended at the honeymoon, or I wouldn't have gone on the honeymoon.
Right.
So I'm Chris, 100% Chris.
We're Team Chris all the way.
All the way. Because he said everything she said was just like a human shouldn't say about another human.
Right. Now, in her defense.
Oh, okay. There's something to defend her for.
I'm saying in her defense, what she said was that she was not mentally aware of what she was saying.
I believe that.
There's an insult there. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm thinking. She was not mentally aware of what she was saying. Okay, if that's the case, cool.
I mean, if you had trauma where you ain't over a first grader mental capacity, I guess you're right about that. Because you had the ability to bow out the day of your wedding and say, you know what, this is not a good fit for me.
Yep.
I'm not attracted to him. I no longer want to be a part of this experiment, and I'm leaving. Right then and there, save people money, save Chris the embarrassment of keep trying and trying to do stuff.
And she lies very well and very easily.
No, she doesn't lie very well because...
Okay, she lies very easily. Let me say it that way.
Oh, yeah, she could lie very easily.
Because there was that scene where she told the ladies that, oh, yeah, we had fun playing tennis and da-da-da. And Chris is like, what? So she lies very easily. I'll say that. Right.
Because you could say, well, at this time, I don't want to talk about it. Right. Or I feel, I don't want to, I turn out, I don't really care for him. And this is not going to work out. And so, but you're putting all these airs on.
Right.
Someone who's trying to save face and be somebody they're not.
And have no ability to be.
I just feel for Chris. It's unfortunate that that was his experience.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that the experts couldn't see through all the BS.
Yeah. Because she blames everybody. She blames the experts. She blames Chris. She blames everybody.
Only thing I wanted her to do is just take ownership.
Yep.
I'd rather you say, I didn't like him, and I didn't like him to the point where I said some cruel things. I said some things that wasn't inappropriate because I didn't like him.
Right.
And that's on me.
Yep.
That's on me.
Yep.
That's just how I felt, and that's on me. And just own up to it.
But she couldn't do that.
No, and it was very disappointing. And, Chris was like, we're cordial, but other than that, I don't really talk to her when we get in the group. And Chris was looking like, wow, she still haven't learned nothing.
Yep.
She gained nothing.
Yep.
But everyone's beating up on her. Everyone's taking it out on her.
She's still basic girl doing basic things.
So,
all right. Anyway,
I give more energy to that.
Anyway, on to Yasmina and Michael.
Yes.
Recap of their wedding, reviewing some of their history, their moments as far as like their inability to talk and communicate for like the first half. She said even now she still stands by the use of the word aggressive. He says he felt that he couldn't talk to her because of the word aggressive. So I get kind of what he's saying.
I hear what he's saying, but at the same time, you can't discover what someone's really trying to say unless you continue to talk.
Right.
Because if we got in another argument, I'm going to ask you at that moment, do you feel like what I'm saying right now is aggressive to you?
Right. Right.
And then I could give you like, well, no. Or if they say yes, then I'm like, okay. Then we would have to actually talk about what aggressive means.
Right. Let me reassure you, I'm not trying to be aggressive. I may be assertive in this moment,
Right.
but I'm not being aggressive.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
I get that.
And then instead of you shutting off, like he has, when what he's projecting is that when he's in fear of someone seeing him in a wrong light, he backs all the way up.
Way off.
And that's not a balance in someone seeing you who you are.
Right.
You know, I've had someone that really kind of called me out of my character, and I did kind of like, well, I'm just not talking to you. When I probably should have had a more detailed conversation with them to understand, well, why do you feel that way? That's not my intent. Because you act this way, that's why I acted a certain way.
Right.
So having communication around that would have been more helpful than just automatically being so offended where you feel like your wife you can't talk to.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously they got over that hurdle to kind of move on, right? Because we see like the last half was a lot better.
Yeah. They were very cordial to each other. They were friends, what have you. But they're no longer together.
And we knew that was coming because they did not decide to move in together.
Right.
That was the issue.
Right.
And each person is pointing the finger about taking the initiative. We knew that when they decided, when we saw on air that they weren't going to live together.
Right. Well, I think that because if you look at the body language was telling the entire story. I think Yasmina still is, in some respects, I think she's feeling him. In some respects, I'm not saying, full on, because her body language was at least more open to him. He was sitting like this from her, right? So his body language was like, I'm not really into her. I'm not really feeling her. But she was saying, basically, and I think kind of what we've been saying all, at least the last half of the season, was that Michael had to do the things that kind of opened the door, right? Because she was saying, don't you think that you should tell your wife that she looks good? Don't you think that you should tell her that, hey, that looks great on you, those type of things? Why? Because at the end of the day, those are the things that's going to maybe speak her language, right? Those are the things that are speaking her language so that she can then start to develop those romantic feelings. I think that Michael pulled back and was so nervous of coming off aggressive in any way, shape, or form that he did not make any moves, if you will, to try and woo her.
Yeah. Again, because he said, well, it's hard to be romantic with someone who seems very uninterested. So again, if he's feeling like he's not getting any signs, I get that. But again, he's the type of person, if he feels like there's no crack, he ain't gonna crack nothing.
Shoot your shot, bro. You should have shot your shot.
But again, does that go to rejection, the loss of loved ones?
It's possible, yes.
And when you want the open door instead of have to feel like you got to work for it.
Listen.
So
Kobe was an amazing ball player, but there was times when he shot brick after brick after brick until he hit. And then once he was hitting, he was fine. He needed to be like Kobe and keep shooting his shot until.
Well, he decided that's not the game he gonna play. If he wasn't,
So
if he wasn't shoot,
He
exactly
on the bench.
Exactly, he stopped shooting.
Yep, on the bench.
But I think it just opens for them to hopefully grow. I think they both need to go to counseling.
Yes.
He has such great losses and trauma in his life.
Agreed.
I think it's very important. Same thing with her. She hasn't mentioned any type of mental health or getting any counseling. I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah.
Because if you want to marry a long distance truck driver and that's the best situation for you,
right?
Then you finding someone that's going to be home, because she said she don't got no type.
Right.
So again, this brother wasn't ugly. Brother didn't have no issues outside. If you want to look on the exterior,
Right.
then and you see all the effort him putting in to be a good husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate. You left that for somebody else's catch.
Yeah.
But
So
it is what it is.
it is what it is.
We knew that was coming.
Yeah. All right. And then Steve and Noy.
Yeah.
For them, they are living together.
Yes.
She still has her apartment.
Yes.
That she still has some time spent there.
Yeah.
But they've worked out a compromise where they are not completely living separate.
Correct.
Right. She's not sure about taking his last name though. That's kind of a quote unquote point for them. Mm-hmm. But if you notice, for her, the money issue has calmed down tremendously.
Oh, we don't have a money issue now. We're good.
I told y'all. You go back to the beginning of the season. I kept telling y'all, Steve got some change somewhere.
So he did identify they have a time frame.
Right.
For him.
Of when he's going to get a job.
Or start applying if he needs to apply for a job. Mm-hmm. But the brother has said on the download that night, you know, when crypto started early, I put a little change in that. Only thing you needed a little change with crypto was early.
Because listen, when I first heard about crypto, and I still think I may have a coin somewhere. I just don't know where I would even begin to look for that. But he, you know, when crypto was really early, you talking 20 cents a coin. So you buy 5 of those and it's what now, $30,000-$40,000, even down to maybe, even if it's like 25,000 a coin. He got some change somewhere.
So
plus what he did as far as work,
and like he said, he's like,
okay.
Steve said on the download, he said he mentioned words like crypto. He mentioned other investments. He said investments and job. That translates to thousands of dollars.
Steve got a little more than $40,000 in the bank. He ain't flinted buying that ring. Steve good. And now Noy, because she got access, she got passwords and codes for probably about now. She good. She like, oh, we planning for kids maybe in the next year or two.
Right.
She good.
Right.
Even Sriracha, who showed up, is like, they need to work on some things, but they're good.
When Sriracha said they good.
They good.
They good. Sriracha said, oh, that job thing, don't even worry about it. I'm not even pointing my finger at that job thing anymore.
Y'all just make sure y'all communicate well.
Communicate.
Both of y'all got communication issues, but y'all good.
Y'all communicate, y'all be fine.
Sriracha, yeah.
So I'm just like, don't make this an issue. And don't allow the producers. And I think the producers made it an issue.
Right.
Even though they had it resolved.
Right.
You know, because other than
they had to build a storyline with it.
Right.
So,
but I know it got annoying because it would have get annoying for me if I know I got. I'm like,
yeah.
But other than them communicating and different things like that, it seems like they're on the right path.
Yep. There is flexibility in the number of children they're going to have.
Yes.
They are talking about within maybe the next year.
Yeah.
So they're doing good. They're okay.
They're developing their relationship.
They're moving forward, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other train wreck, Mark and Lindsay.
Mark and Lindsay.
They review their ups and downs, which were more downs than ups.
Well, yeah, because the way Mark indicated, there were several really bad arguments between them, and that she said very, very upsetting things to him during that time period where he's like, I am not going to be a punching bag.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take it.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I said at the beginning. I said, because when we did our prediction special, I said, I think that they would say yes on decision day. But I think at some point, Mark is going to get tired of Lindsay's behavior.
Yeah.
He did say, because for him, he said that he saw glimpses of what could be and where things could be before decision day, like the week of. That's what caused him to say yes. Looking from the outside in, I don't care what it looked like as far as your glimpses. The rest of that 8 weeks was not going to give good hope. So she basically makes it seem like he helped her, or she helped him get the house together. And he was like, okay, good. Thank you. Now get out. And he's like, no, that's not how that story goes.
Right.
You telling the story that doesn't match up with reality.
Right. And he was saying, like, I thought we were going to do this together, but again, it's just about her.
Right.
And about what she wants.
Right.
And she indicates, well, I asked them for a strong man. No.
You asked them for
You wanted someone that was going to tell you to shut up and sit your behind down and had to raise you.
Right.
Because your tantrums.
You were looking for daddy.
Right. Your tantrums and stuff put you in a place where a grown man didn't feel like they had to teach you how to be respectful to other people.
Right.
And that's all the way I can place it, because if he's indicating like these arguments were bad, like the way she talked to me, we saw.
He basically said, he got bullied as a kid, and he said he would put her at the top of the list
of being bullied.
Of bullies, right? Of his bullies. So here's the thing.
I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy that your bullies from when you were 6, 8, 15, 13, whatever it might be, that you're putting this grown woman at the top of the list means that she was vicious, means that she had no filter.
Malice. Right, no filter. Belittling him.
Yeah, because even when they're talking, she's moved out to California, and y'all pray for California now, because there are men out in California who may not have watched this show that are going to maybe go on a date with her and that are going to realize, what in the world did I do? But she said, that if there's intellectuals out there, there's engineers, there's da-da-da. Listen, you can think that you're dating all the intellectuals that you want, but if you are who you are and the way that you've been acting, if they're really smart and intellectual, they will leave you at the bar that they found you at.
Yeah, I was, it's unfortunate. Let me put it that way. For Mark to have gone through so much in that amount of time, and then that's another thing that he has to now work through.
Right.
Now, obviously, Mark had his own issues.
Absolutely.
And we saw that, just to be clear, that we did see that at the very end, where the cameras were shooting more of where he wasn't responding to her.
Right.
He wasn't acting, And granted, I know there's some, I think he should just really take this time to do therapy.
Yeah.
To work through, dealing with his mom, his family, his grandma, all those things. And I feel like Mark will get to a place where he needs to be able to be a good fit for somebody.
Right.
Now
I laugh because Lindsay pulls out this letter and she's writing this letter.
Right. That's what we were referring to.
And Mark is like, oh, I didn't know we were writing things down. I didn't know this was what we were doing. I thought we were having a conversation. So that was pretty much it for part 1. Part 2 looks like.
Did we get a hold of it? Is that everybody?
That's everybody, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's all of them.
Okay.
But part 2 looks like it's gonna get a little explosive because the experts will be there. And Alyssa is going to again state that she's a really good person, that what have you. Looks like Lindsay and Alyssa may get into it for a little bit. But it also looks like we have some other things that might pop off as far as little beefs and tiffs and what have you. So we'll see. Definitely know we'll be reviewing it. So you know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications, share, and we will see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.